division of the Stonesborough Championship. A fairly blustery day here at Wilderspool. The sand all over the pitch, as you can probably see. The pitch has taken some hammer recently. There isn't too much grass on it. It's a fairly blustery, fairly cold day, and Salford have just taken the field. But before we give you the Salford side, it might be an idea to talk about the Wolfpack mascot that I can mention later on too, when he takes the pitch. And today's Manweb mascot is Tommy Moore, 8 years of age, from Old Hall in Warrington. And he's a pupil at the primary school at Old Hall, and his hobbies are football and playing mini rugby league. Favourite players are Jonathan Davis and Alan Bateman, and you can just see him coming onto the field now. There's Tommy, just coming along there with Jonathan Davis. I'm sure he's had a marvellous day already. He's had a good look round the club. He's been into the dressing rooms, had a chat with the players. I'm sure he's had a word with his favourite players, Jonathan Davis and Alan Bateman. I'm sure his parents are very proud of him. Let's hope Warrington put on a performance which you're really going to enjoy today, Tommy. Well done. And let's give you the two sides for this afternoon. The Wire side have just in fact taken the pitch, and it's Lee Penny at full-back. And the three-quarter line, Mark Foster, Alan Bateman, Jonathan Davis and Jonathan Roper. Number 6, Kelly Shelford, who's played in the stand-off berth now for some 4 or 5 games, perhaps even more than that. Yestin Harris at number 7. We'll be interested to see whether these two in fact swap over, and whether Kelly Shelford plays in the scrum half berth and Yestin Harris at stand-off. That's what happened at Salford a couple of weeks ago. The front row, Mark Hilton, Tukari Barlow and Gary Tees. Gary Sanderson and Bruce Maguire still make up the second row partnership. Of course, Paul Cullen with a very bad knee injury. One hopes he will play again, but Paul's suffered from bad knee injuries during his career. Mike Wainwright, who had a marvellous game against Salford a couple of weeks ago, is playing in the loose forward berth. And 2 real stars from the Academy and A-team on the bench, Jason Lee and Paul Sculthorpe. I'm joined by my colleague here, Steve Kerry, just arrived on the ground, unless he may well have arrived before I did, I don't know, but I was first on the gantry, and I'm sure that Steve would love to give you the Salford side.
Yeah, a few changes today, thanks for that. Great game in prospect, 2 teams on a roll, Jim. Warrington on this roll of success, and Salford, well, unfortunately, on the roll of victories. But the fans are here, a few of them that made the journey, trying to support and raise the Red Devils. The team for the Red Devils today is Tyrus at full-back, and the three-quarters are Phil Ford, Nathan McAvoy, Jason Critchley and Phil Cousins. No Steve Blakely yet at stand-off, so Sam Paniper continues in that role, with young Ian Watson at number 7. In the forwards, David Young, Mark Lee, Cliff Eccles, Bob Marsden, Richard Webster and Ian Blease at number 13. Substitutes Craig Randall and Mike Gregory making a welcome return, and he'll be out to impress on his home midden. Great game in prospect. Only 10 days ago that these two teams met, and Warrington had the advantage then, and it probably will be again today, Jim.
May well be, but you never know here. Salford normally tend to play well at Warrington, and in fact Salford are in possession immediately. It looks like the loose forward Ian Blease. I'm not quite, no it isn't in fact, but it's Cliff Eccles. Richard Webster that was brought down there, but it's Ian Watson in the arms there eventually of David Young, Welsh international rugby union player of course, and skippered the Welsh International Rugby League side this year, I think against Australia. The Salford in possession, that's certainly Ian Blease. Half a break from Ian Blease, trying to get the ball away. But Gary T's in there immediately, and you can probably see the pitch is covered in sand. Pitch has taken a bit of a hammer recently. Jonathan Roper, Warrington in possession for the first time in this game. Good break by Roper, centre field. Just tackle there midway between the 20 and the halfway line. That's Tukari Barlow, eventually onto Gary Sanderson. Sanderson not running particularly straight there, tending to come across the field. Barlow in the loose forward berth. Mark Hilton gets up ahead of steam, runs straight, but there's David Young in there immediately. Inside pass onto Maguire. Mark Wainwright. Not a particularly big forward, Wainwright. Certainly tall, 6'2", 6'3", but not too much weight on him. But a very good ball handler. Gary Tees. The ground very quiet here. I would think there's only about a maximum, I think, of 3,000 people in this ground here at Wilderspool. One floating in the air. The ball's lost. Knock on, surely the referee will give. So that's danger signs there for Salford. That ball really did float in the air. And looking at the corner flags, it looks as if Warrington are playing with the wind behind them, but it may well be blowing diagonally across the pitch from the scoreboard end to the right of the old Spy and Cop end, for those of you who know Wilderspool Stadium. And as I thought, in fact, Yestin Harris wearing number 7 as Mark Wainwright goes forward, but it's Kelly Shelford in scrum half. Warrington in possession, eventually onto Yestin Harris. Yestin Harris gets the ball away in the arms of Mark Hilton, but Salford coming in quickly. Not too many ideas from the Warrington side there. A very quiet Wilderspool. Nobody really getting behind the side, but Maguire will score. A missed move, in fact, a Warrington player missed out. Maguire scores after about 3 minutes play here at Wilderspool. Warrington 4 points, Salford 0, and I said that Warrington really weren't showing too many ideas, but that really was a walk-in try, a canter really, Steve, for Maguire.
Yeah, regrettably it was a couple of long passes and they found a space in the Salford defensive lineup, and it was quite a simple stroll in from only 10 metres out. And Warrington with the win will certainly,
and Jonathan Davis
take advantage. Adds the 2 more, and what, let's hope, won't be but could be a field day for Warrington. 6-0 up and only 3 minutes on the clock.
Thanks, Steve. Yes, Warrington 6 points to 0 in the lead, and that really was a walk-in try. Warrington using the missed move, a player missed out, and there was Maguire with a huge gap in front of him. He didn't really have to put on any pace at all, he just strolled through the gap. Scored there to about 10, 12 yards to the left of the post, so a really good start from Warrington. And Steve said before, Salford may well be on the end of a high score here if they don't play well. Wainwright again. As I said before, probably only about 3,000, 3,500 I would think in this ground at the moment, and it's very quiet indeed. Gary Sanderson. Sanderson releases eventually onto Jonathan Roper. He's tackled there just 2 or 3 yards in from touch. Mark Hilton. And no Andy Gregory today for Salford. He'll obviously be watching very carefully from the bench. Gary Tees, half a break from Tees there. I think Yestin Harris was screaming for the ball. And again, the try scorer, Maguire. That's the last tackle. Warrington have made about 30, 40 yards in that play. Onto Jonathan Davis, surely another one up in the air. And you can probably see the wind is taking it away from the Salford players. But it's well taken in the end. And Salford back in possession. And that's immediately Mark Forster in to tackle one of the Red Devils. Over to you again, Steve.
Yeah, Jonathan Davis with another bomb, well taken by 2 Salford players, Tyrer and Cousins combining. But Warrington showing their greater commitment at the minute at the tackling, making Salford work hard to make the minimum amount of ground, although they are finally going forward on the last one. And it's Watson putting the kick in, and it's running long, but it's not going to find touch. And the 6 from Salford well contained by Warrington, who are already wanting to move it forward from inside their own half.
I think Lee Penny there would have been well advised to unload, because Jonathan Roper was on his outside fairly clear. As Yestin Harris comes through the sand, midway between the 20 and the halfway line, Tuckeri Barlow immediately onto Mark Wainwright. But Salford now beginning to regroup, beginning to organise their defence. Interesting decision by the referee, or should I say non-decision. Gary Sanderson, it seemed to be an age before the Warrington player was allowed to get up. Kelly Shelford. Shelford onto Harris. Going to look forward to seeing Harris playing in the stand-off berth. Onto Lee Penny. Bit of a high tackle there on Lee Penny, but he's none the worse for it. Yestin Harris again. It really does remind me of Henry Paul, the Wigan player. He can sidestep off both feet. Doesn't really do too much with the ball then. Tuckeri Barlow onto Shelford, who surely will be the Warrington playmaker. Break ahead by Shelford. Ball eventually in the arms, I think, of Gary Tyrer. The Salford have got possession back, but at the moment, really, it's all Warrington. We've not seen any breaks at all from the Salford side. As I talk, half a break then, Steve.
Now, I regret to say you're right, Jim. Salford struggling to find an opening. Phil Ford's trying like that, but it really doesn't make any ground forward. Good, better line from Salford now, going better, but that one's gone down quickly and it's going to be called back for a knock-on. And Salford trying to move the ball, but not with, well, not in a style that instills any confidence when you're watching it from up here, and Warrington will have the initiative again.
There really is a lack of atmosphere in the stadium at the moment. It looks to me as well as if Mark Foster's carrying a bit of an injury, but he gets the ball. He was holding his left leg rather gingerly. He didn't really take the ball there with any degree of confidence, I don't think, and it may well be that Yestin Harris is going to be the playmaker for Warrington from the standoff berth. Certainly he and Shelford work very well together, but a totally different half-back partnership really that started this season. With the injury, of course, to Greg Mackey. Shelford again. Onto Lee Penny. Lee Penny eventually gets away. Half a break from Lee Penny. He's just tackled there on the 20. So that's a round of applause. Kelly Shelford again in the arms of Mark Wainwright. Shelford's got the ball back. Warrington have lost it, but it's Jonathan Roper. Kicks ahead, but much too far. Too much weight on it. That's going to be a tap ahead. I think Roper went down as well there. Just to say to the referee, I was taking that after the ball had gone, but there was no danger, and I'm sure he wasn't. But Salford back in possession, Steve.
Thanks, Jim. Another good six from Warrington, and perhaps an important key part of the play. Warrington with the ideas, but Salford hanging on well there and preventing a try from a situation that Warrington could themselves have scored. So good defensive six from Salford, and Warrington hanging on to Webster there, trying to make an impression going forward. The ball hanging in the wind. Watson, terrible pass in the end. It was telegraphed and dropped, and the referee blowing up very quickly. Ian Watson giving starts ahead of a number of other players. Salford without Steve Blakely, and not as yet managing to get in possession inside the Warrington half, Jim.
But it's not really easy, Steve, for either side. This wind really is swirling around. And they're certainly keeping an eye on the Warrington standoff, Iestyn Harris, because he is one of the wide danger men. But it can't be easy playing out there at the moment. Gary Sanders straightens up a little bit. Mark Foster this time wants the ball. Iestyn Harris, Warrington spinning it around. Onto Shelford, eventually in the arms of Davis. Davis onto Roper. Good tackle, good cover tackle there. Roper just attempting, I think, to come inside because he was very close to the touchline. And although he's a very talented winger, he's not probably the fastest player on Warrington's books. And he did attempt to come inside there, but the cover was there. So Salford really are hanging on well at the moment. An early try after about 5 minutes for Warrington, but since then, Salford have kept them out, Steve.
Yeah, good handling from Warrington in that previous move, and good defence from Salford. Good to see Phil Ford making absolutely certain that somebody was bundled into touch, but Salford bunching in the middle. Critchley looking to offload, but nobody with him. Short side with Bob Marsden. He'll run forever for Salford, but he needs support. The game is about many support. Good hands now from Salford. Good line. Richard Webster doing well. In the end, can't release the pass that might have created an opportunity, but Salford still inside. Sam Paniper shrugging off one. Taken down, and Salford still in their own half. Mark Lee going forward with a kick. Rebounds back. David Young is the first to react to it and make it his. Works the short side, stays in play, and the referee says that's the handover, so Salford still can't get in the Warrington half.
No, they can't, but there was some good movement there on the narrow side. And it's Gary Tees who juggles with the ball, spins around, gets out of one tackle, still going forward. And that was Tukuribalo on his shoulder, but Tees really hampered. He couldn't get rid of the ball. Salford did well, they clamped it well. On again to Iestyn Harris. Harris to Shelford. Shelford to Bateman, the first time. But the referee's given a crossing decision, a good decision too. That certainly was obstruction. Really the first time we've seen Bateman with the ball in his hands, but some good humour, some good spirit between the sides there as Bateman smiles. Am I going to get this ball in my hands? No, I'm not. The second phase, and it looks as if it's going to be Mark Lee in the arms eventually there of Phil Cousins.
And Salford have made it into the Warrington half. Well, Salford been on the defence so much, you just wonder now whether they can, with this first real attack from them, whether they can conjure something up and bring themselves right back into the game. 6-0 for Warrington. Good line this side, good hands. Nice little move. Missing Critchley out, but Tyra well blocked by the Warrington defenders. Paniper onto Webster. Webster, strong man like that. Great run from Webster, and he's looking for support. Referee allows play to go on, and all of a sudden there's a chance for Warrington. If the ball were released more quickly, then who knows what might have been possible for him. As it is, Salford defending so well. Warrington man refusing to go down. He is now. Salford so unlucky with that attack. Nice little move from Webster, keeping the ball available, and for the first time Warrington in their own 10-metre area.
I think the wide fullback Lee Penny did well there, but the Warrington team didn't help him, didn't defend him, it didn't help him at all, because there were quite a few players around him. He really should have attempted to push as well. Mark Wainwright comes away, and I think the game is beginning to liven up, and the referee's given Salford offside, but that really was a good handling movement from Salford, with Sam Paniper and Richard Webster prominent. And Warrington, had they been able to get the ball away, really would have had a clear run to the line, one would think, on the far side. Penny eventually did well, but not good teamwork really from the wire. Shelford. Warrington still spinning the ball away. Yestin Harris going on his own. Half a break from Harris. And the game's livened up somewhat, and I think the crowd have enjoyed that. Tukari Barlow. On to Mark Hilton. Mark Hilton's got a little bit of space. He's tackle there just in front of the post, about 15 yards out. Warrington moving the ball along in the arms eventually there of Mark Wainwright again. Wainwright gets the ball back on to Shelford. Warrington spinning it around. Surely there's space here, but Warrington is standing still. And eventually in the arms again, and Warrington spinning the ball around, but the ball going loose rather a lot. Yestin Harris again. He really is in the game quite a lot at the moment, but Salford managing to push Warrington back a little bit. Mark Hilton still going forward. That's going to be the last tackle, I would think. Is Jonathan Davis going to attempt a goal? No, he isn't. He's on the far side of the field. Warrington have got to spin this around now. That's Davis. That's going to be a try for Penny. The second try for Warrington. A good handling movement, really. A missed move yet again. Warrington in the lead by 10 points to 0. So Salford weathered the storm. They also had some good attacking play inside the Warrington 20. But eventually, the game again in the Salford 20, and that's a try for Lee Penny.
So the question is, where can Salford find some hidden reserves from them? They came walking back to the halfway line, very dispirited then, Jim, which is sad to see. Only 10-0 down, only 15 minutes gone. But if that walk is an indication of anything, it's resignation perhaps, and that's, I hope I'm wrong, I hope they'll prove me wrong, but it's Warrington in possession again. Good tackle.
I hope they do as well, because they seem to be coming into the game, Salford, somewhat, but Warrington weathered their own storm really and scored again. But I can see that Mike Gregory's warming up on the touchline. I'm sure he'll get a warm round of applause when he comes on. He was a very popular player here at Wilderspool, a very good skipper. Held 1 or 2 trophies aloft for Warrington during his playing days here, and of course suffered a lot from bad knee injuries, but it's good to see him. We hope he gets on, because if Salford are feeling a little bit dispirited, you can rest assured that and the Webster, really, is it Webster or Ian Blease? I think the referee is quite rightly. Good decision there by the referee. And Webster's gone down, and let's hope it's not a bad injury for him. In fact, it's Ian Blease, I think, isn't it? Who's gone? Richard Webster. But, it is Ian Blease, in fact, his number 13 as he rolls over. It's okay, but I have to apologise for the wind noise here, because it really is very blustery. It's very cold as well, and it can't be easy. And really, I don't think there was anything wrong with that tackle at all. It just, you could probably hear the sound of the contact, and the referee was quite right, I think, to stop the game immediately. But Salford have got the ball in their hands. One wonders if there is going to be a penalty given.
I agree with you, Jim. I don't think it was the tackle in any way. It was as much Ian Blease's reaction, which looked as though there was something serious, and in those circumstances you've got to give the player the benefit of the doubt, particularly when it's a player of Ian Blease's experience. And well, it's good to see him up and recovered, because he so whatever's happened, the referee's going to put somebody on report. Good system, I like that. I think it's a great arrival in the game, that things can be looked at a game afterwards, and whatever they find out about it, I can't imagine it's anything. The penalty does go Salford's way, and Ian Blease thankfully recovered. Had a few injuries in that upper body area, a couple of shoulder problems, but today up and running and wanting the ball again in the centre there. Cliff Eccles with it now though, and Salford having a second attack of the afternoon. Watson and Nez. Ian Blease coming in the line, gets his pass on to Marsden. Marsden over to Watson, and Watson drops the ball, and not for the first time. And the crowd not liking Ian Watson's reaction to try and put the much bigger man down. And it's just a disappointment that the youngster is not just in this game, in other games, has dropped the ball at key times, and Warrington making ground quite comfortably, but Salford defending strongly.
And the crowd on the far side saw something I certainly didn't see, but or they thought they saw something, I don't know. Good break, marvellous break from Shelford onto Bateman. Is Bateman going to make it? No, he isn't. He's just tackled short. get up fairly quickly. That was a good break, really made by Shelford. Lee Penny going forward. Is he going to score? Yes, he is. Some very poor tackling there from Salford. As Lee Penny went towards the line, he took the ball only about 10 yards out, if that really. And there were 3 Salford players in front of him. And some very poor tackling from Salford puts Warrington 14 points to 0 in front. And it's Lee Penny's second try of the afternoon. But really, Penny, I think, Steve, shouldn't have scored then.
No, 2 more to Davis, he shouldn't. Salford had defended well, first of all containing Bateman, but Penny, well, the route to the line was blocked, wasn't it? Webster was one of the Salford defenders that he went round as if they weren't there, and Salford left flat-footed, and, well, the game going Warrington's way whenever they put their mind to it. And this is a sad sight after all the effort Salford have put in all of the season, to see a season that promised so much that sort of has lost its way for them since Christmas. As Warrington going to bring this forward again, Jim.
Thanks, that was Gary Sanderson. Mrs. Tuckery Barlow can't get the ball away. Warrington 16 points to the good without really, one would say, getting out of second gear, I don't think. But certainly it's not easy to play out there, I don't think. Tuckery Barlow, half a break from him. Probably not the fastest hooker in the league, but certainly one of the best. Very good with the ball in his hands. Always hungry for work, hungry for possession. Good ball handler, tackles well. Jonathan Davis, another bomb. Another one up in the air, that ball still swirling around. Going to be difficult to take, but beautifully taken there by Gary Tyrer. Did exceptionally well there, Steve, when he was surrounded by Warrington players.
Yeah, magnificent take from Tyrer. But unfortunately, in some ways, he was totally on his own, and that reflects Salford's sort of attitude towards this game. Phil Ford coming in to make ground forward, but Tyrer was totally on his own. No other Salford players running back to help cover him should the ball not have been taken cleanly. As it was a good clean take, and Salford are now making ground forward for themselves. David Young that time. Perhaps falling rather than anything else at the end of that move. Referee saying he was prevented from playing the ball. Jonathan Davis's kicks taking full advantage of this wing. He hangs them in the air for long enough for his supporting teammates to get up in support. Cliff Eccles demonstrating that if you put your mind to going forward, then you can make ground. That one was forward, but for all that, Ian Blee's got it away. Cliff Eccles again surrounded by 3 Warrington defenders. Teammates not quite in support. Ian Blee's recovered from his earlier knock, but Salford having their best attack now. Paniper having to straighten up. 10 metres from the line. Mark Lee going in a little kick through on his own, obstructed, impinged, and Salford being awarded the try. Well, any try's a good try, but that was a little bit fortunate to say the least. But if nothing else, it might bring a bit of heart and a bit of hope to Salford, because Warrington had got Salford well contained in that attack. The kick from Mark Lee was more in hope than anything else. It was judged well, though it didn't run dead. Warrington had to play it. Wasn't taken cleanly, and so McAvoy pounced on it to score the first Salford try.
It's not an easy,
hopefully we'll put a bit of heart back.
An easy afternoon. 16 points to 4. This will surely be 16-6, I would imagine. And it is. As Watson adds on the goal points. Salford now just 10 points behind. And it would be interesting to see Mike Gregory on. I mean, I think it's probably around about the time they should bring him on now to try and get a little bit more motivation into the Salford side. But that try may well have done it. Might have lifted the spirits somewhat. As Jonathan Davis kicks off. The ball eventually in the hands of another ex-Warrington favourite, Phil Ford. Running across the field. Tackle there just in front of the posts. Another try for Salford now really would put the cat amongst the pigeons. Just outside or just inside the 20, that's Young. Just tackle there, 4 to 5 yards outside the 20. So Salford coming more into the game now. They're getting more possession as Paniper puts an inside pass onto Bob Marsden. And Marsden tackle there midway between the 20 and the halfway line. Richard Webster, the ball goes loose. The referee will give a knock on. That'll be the scrum to Warrington, and Warrington's head and ball. And interestingly enough, in the game 10 days ago that Steve and I commentated on at the Willows, I think we saw 3 scrums where the ball went against the head. Haven't seen any this afternoon. 2, I think, for Salford and 1 for the wire. I haven't seen that for a long time in rugby league. Jonathan Davis coming in the stand-off position in the arms of Alan Bateman. Haven't seen too much of Alan Bateman yet this afternoon, but Alan Bateman is a type of player who all of a sudden can display a flash of brilliance on a defence and on attack. Ball loose in the arms of Yestin Harris, who's got some room in which to move. Yestin Harris slips the ball on there to Mark Foster inside the 20. And Warrington in possession. Another promising attacking position for the wire. Onto Shelford. Shelford onto Lee Penny. Lee Penny coming forward looking for his hat-trick. Push back again, gets the ball away well. Onto Mark Hilton. Hilton runs into Young. The game livening up somewhat. Yestin Harris again. Yestin Harris on his own, trying to get the ball away, still going forward. That's the last tackle. What will Warrington do? Will it be a grubber kick? Will it be Jonathan Davis who won up in the air? And Warrington just going to spin it along. Kick ahead, but the ball loose again. Warrington back in possession, but the referee is going to give first knock on and the second knock on. I don't know whether he would have been advised to play advantage there, but it's going to be a Warrington scrum again, just in front of the posts. Warrington really would be expected to score from this position. Shelford puts the ball in on the narrow side onto Davis. Flash of brilliance, so we expected from Davis. We didn't see it. Bit of a sidestep onto Tukari Barlow. Salford cover coming in. But a really good attacking position for the wire. Bateman on again to Shelford. Shelford this time onto Harris, but the cover in there quickly. Moving very quickly in at the play the ball of Salford, and they have to do at the moment because Warrington are not far away. Again Barlow. Barlow into Foster. Foster trying to get the ball onto Harris, who will score. And that's Warrington's 4th try of the afternoon. Again, really, just what they deserved, I think. It was a good attacking move, and Warrington really spinning the ball around well and trying to make more than the 6 tackles. For Warrington 20 points, Salford 6, and it appears that when Warrington get inside the Salford 20, the try results. And it really is good to see Yestin Harris in the stand-up position. He really is bringing a spark of genius on the odd occasion to the Warrington attack, and he spins around well. He can handle the ball beautifully. He has a lovely long spin pass, and he's tackling, and it's not an easy kick for Davis, especially in this wind. He takes it now, but an excellent goal kick from Jonathan Davis. I said it wasn't an easy one, but he floated it in quite beautifully.
Tried to play the ball, the referee.
So, Salford's afternoon going from bad to worse now. Good to see Mike Gregory making a return. Mike Gregory and Craig Randall have come on, replacing Richard Webster. And I think, oh, what a great kick. And I think Bob Marsden. Mike Gregory back on, and Salford in that period of play really forgetting that he had to move up to tackle, and Warrington again creating space. Great handling from them along the line. Men over, Alan Bateman cutting inside, Tyra doing just enough, and the ball still being moved, but this time, and the referee judging that the player Alan Bateman had been grounded and should have played the ball. But as Jim was saying just a minute ago, whenever Warrington get a sniff of the Salford 20, you feel that they can do something special each time. And Salford really going to have to shake themselves, not just in this game, but for the rest of this season. It's not clear in my mind that they're actually safe from relegation. I think Doncaster will surprise us in the run-in. Critchley looking to find that try-scoring form that brought him so many 20-odd tries last season. And Mike Gregory handling the ball for the first time. But Warrington wrapping him up quickly Mark Lee going forward strongly. Now there's a chance over that side. McAvoy down the short, stand off side. Nice pass on to Ford. Phil Ford bundled into touch. But that is good to see. Salford at last demonstrating an urgency and the ability to move the ball out wide with speed, at pace. But for all that, Warrington defence again had the measure of it, Jim.
But it was a nice break, and it was good to see Phil Ford moving along there. It's good to see Mark Foster with the ball in his hands too, but he can't get away from the clutches of a Salford player. Well, really a lot of sand there on the field at the moment, and it can't be easy to keep your footing. Warrington Speckies don't like that, but I don't think there was anything wrong with it. I think it was difficult for the Salford player, in fact, to gain his feet again. Oh, Shelford. Pass on to Yestin Harris, but the ball goes loose. A very difficult pass for Harris to take. He almost took it. And Salford back in possession. Jason Critchley. Foster coming in quickly. Salford trying to get the ball away, and it's good to see them moving the ball. There's Mike Gregory. Lost quite a bit of hair, Mike Gregory. He's gone bald, I think, since he's gone to Salford. He was losing it when he was at Warrington, but it's good to see Salford handling. Sam Panaper, class player Panaper, gets the ball away, but there's Maguire in there immediately. Surely only 2 tackles left in this play. A bit of a punch, I think, on Mark Lee. The tackling really is fierce. Must only be 2 tackles left in this play. Sam Panaper again. Maguire's in there. Panaper loses the ball. In fact, Warrington have regained possession. Knock on. Scrum down as Maguire gets up with the ball in his hands. We think with about 8 minutes to go here at Wilderspool. Warrington 22 points, Salford 6. Not one of the most enthralling games I think I've seen this season. Having said that, we've seen some good tries. But a real lack of atmosphere in the ground. Ball out very quickly on the wide side. Jonathan Roper. The Salford halves come in to get him. Jonathan Roper again, still going forward. Penalty, not playing the ball properly. Also a bit of an altercation there between Roper and Gregory, so Salford have got possession back, Steve, with a penalty.
Yeah, it feels sometimes like it's men against boys this afternoon, because the tackles there on Roper, the 2 Salford defenders just couldn't put him down at all. Eccles. And Salford in the 20, having a good spell of possession. Ian Blease looks to pass on if he can. Mark Lee, you almost say it was the kick coming, and Warrington make it safe comfortably. It was a well-judged kick from Mark Lee, but again, not really putting the Warrington defence under much pressure. Although there was no alternative but to just to bait the ball safe. And with this wind behind him, Davis is going to kick this ball, I would imagine, a long way like that. Look at that. And Tyra, good take from him, jogging, now going up in speed, trying to find an opening, bounces off 2, but again, not with any conviction. Gregory wants it, that's good to see. Running straight, good 10 metres from him. Mark Lee, David Young, again, not men in the right support position, so Mark Lee goes on his own. Nice long pass out to Gregory. Gregory just checks, still looks to release the ball, does so. Cliff Eccles comes back inside, pushes 2 men off. Good play from Salford now, going that side. Good attack like this. McAvoy going to force his way over for Salford's 2nd try of the afternoon, and Salford demonstrating that they can have a part to play in this game, because that was good handling from Salford, and more than that, it was Salford showing the will to commit themselves to going forward. Crisp handing along the line, and McAvoy in the end making the try his. He had Phil Ford in support, didn't need him. Salford's 2nd try of the afternoon.
It's that kind of game, it can change within minutes. So Jonathan Davis places the ball again. We've seen 32 points scored this afternoon, 6 tries. Davis to kick off. A number of Warrington players offside there. Ball taken well. Mike Gregory, who I think really did make that try. Salford in possession again. McAvoy. And they are making ground forward. Not this time. That's Shelford and Alan Bateman in there. Surely we're going to see a kick to see Salford see if they can clear the lines. Ian Blease taken out eventually by Hilton and Maguire, with Gary Tees in attendance. Surely is the last tackle in this play. As Ian Watson kicks ahead, long kick, taken by Lee Penny just on the wire try line, but the Salford chase was good, and the cover comes in, and they put him down there just 10 yards out from the line. Mark Foster. What can Mark Foster do with the ball? He started off this year with quite a spate of tries. His try-scoring efforts have gone a little bit quiet recently. Jonathan Roper, very difficult to put down, a very strong 19-year-old. Wainwright centre field. So we're really waiting here for the half-time hooter. A little bit of the steam's gone out the game, I think. That's the last tackle. There's Jonathan Davis. Surely will put one up in the air. And he does. It's going to be difficult to take. Ball bounces and he's knocked on. So Warrington really have got a chance just before half-time. They're only 25 yards out. Scrum down, wire head and ball. Unless we see what we see, it's what we saw at Salford 10 days ago. It should be Warrington's possession, but you never know. Well, Shelford, and he's on a custom role really in Warrington scrum half. Mark Wainwright still going, trying to get the ball away to Harris, but the ball goes loose. Offside anyway. I'm sure it was accidental, but offside. Penalty to Salford. So they breathe a sigh of relief. 22-10 is a lot nicer than 28-10, I think. Good kick, in fact, against the wind. A very good kick. A good 35-yard, 40-yard touch finder. So Salford back in possession, Steve.
Yeah, and if we can get a try, 39 minutes gone, if we can see a try in this closing stage of this first half, then there's real hope for Salford in the second half. Tyra unlucky the first time he's misjudged the ball. Little kick through. Again, the ball lost, so Salford can recover it. Tackle's waved out. Warrington mistake, uncharacteristic this afternoon. Craig Randall. If Salford can just go up a little notch now, you never know, there's something on. And Craig Randall this time being penalised, and all the good work comes to naught. Unnecessary penalty conceded. And Jonathan Davis takes the penalty and makes a lot of ground. So the referee deciding that Randall didn't play the ball, and Warrington have that another chance to score just before half-time.
So one or two really unforced errors as Salford are coming back into the game and not playing the ball properly. Mark Wainwright, not an easy ball to take, slightly behind him, but he does it well. Otukari Barlow at dummy half, onto Shelford immediately. Shelford gives it to Tees. Not seen too much of Gary Tees this afternoon. Onto Shelford again, Shelford to Harris. Harris going on his own, trying to get the ball away onto Bateman. Is Bateman going to score? Finally, the very classy Warrington Welsh centre puts the ball down. I think on 2 or possibly 3 occasions, I don't know, Bateman has gone towards the line, has just been ankle tapped or been tackled just short. No doubt about that try. Again made by Harris, who spun round, changed the line of attack, and there's this Warrington centre, Alan Bateman, certainly one of the best centres I think who's ever played for Warrington in my opinion. He takes the kick now. I'm looking at it this time on the monitor. Warrington 28 points, Salford 10. What a marvellous time to score. Well, if you're a Warrington supporter, that is, not attempting to be biased, of course. Hard luck, Steve, because I think your side came back into it.
Yeah, but always been second best this afternoon. And really, at that last Warrington try again, demonstrating the difference between the two teams. Salford's tackling efforts, well, where's it going to come from? Half-time, 28-10. 28.
Welcome back to Wilderspool on this blustery day. Rather dark here at the moment. One would think the floodlights would have to come on soon, but Warrington in the lead by a fair margin, 28 points to 10. Looking round at the Warrington side to see if there are any substitutes on. I can't see any. Penalty to Warrington immediately for interference at the play of the ball. Warrington try and get on with the game, but Warrington now very much against the wind. And a very cold wind it is, and a very strong wind too. Gusting, blustery. If Salford can get themselves on the score sheet at the start of the second half, one may well see the kicking game. Bit of an altercation there between David Young and Mark Hilton. Maguire, but nobody with Maguire at all. Warrington lagging very much behind him. Onto Mark Wainwright. Wainwright attempting to get the ball away. Tuckery Barlow. Tuckery Barlow onto Maguire, coming in at speed. Wide in possession. Yastin Harris, a long pass on to Shelford. Kick by Shelford. Eventually taken by a Salford player, so Salford back in possession. I'm just saying, Steve, if Salford can get a try right at the start of the second half, one or two things may well happen.
Yeah, if only, if only. Warrington certainly had the better of the opening phase from their own 20 on into the Salford 10-metre area. And Salford certainly have to find something. We've seen them do it, scored 2 tries in the first half. But with 3 converted tries behind in the scoring. And it's going to need more than one-man burst to break down this Warrington defence. Mike Gregory trying to do it. Marley with the kick using the wind, it's running well into touch. And having taken the position, what Salford have got to remember is that to keep Warrington down there, they've got to move up much more quickly. They have been doing on the defence in the tackling duties. Raise the tackling game and try and keep Warrington down here.
And that's not going to be easy to do, I don't think, Steve. And we have the referee having a chat there with Mark Hilton and David Young. Good to see. Mark Foster. And as Steve said, Salford have got to try and keep Warrington down here. Mark Hilton again going straight. Real look of determination on his face. Tuckery Barlow going on his own. Jonathan Davis onto Maguire. Good break from Maguire. Got Shelford with him. Has Shelford got the legs? I don't think he has, no. But some very, very good covering there. Lovely defence from Phil Cousins, but Warrington still in possession. It's still with this man, Maguire. Maguire still trying to get the ball away, and he does very well indeed. Onto Shelford, onto Barlow. Ball goes loose. Knock on. That movement really did deserve a try, and I don't think Shelford saw Cousins coming over at him. But some very good defence indeed from Salford. Scrum down, Salford's head and ball, and it looks as if Sculthorpe is coming on, the academy star. Mike Wainwright's going off, got some kind of a hip injury, I would think. He's walking off very gingerly, but Sculthorpe comes on. And we were talking about him at half-time interval, and those who've seen him play say he really is a top player. Very good potential. Very good potential for an 18-year-old. But Salford back in possession, Steve.
Yeah, it was a good cover tackle from Cousins. But, cruncher there, but it was the ease that Maguire broke the Salford tackling line that is still a concern, and then Shelford in support. And it was good to see wingers come in, and there's Randall forcing himself through. Good to see, and it also must be great for these players to hear the fans having made the trip on the coach down the A57, still making themselves heard when they know that it must be something of a lost cause. 3 converted tries necessary to bring Salford level. For all that, the Salford fans are still willing their team on, as we all are. All we Salford supporters are. But Warrington New young blood in the team. It's good to see these youngsters getting a game.
And I can't really wait to see Sculthorpe play. On to Yestin Harris. Half a break coming in from Harris. Mark Hilton. Salford coming up very quickly there at the play of the ball. Kick ahead, taken, in fact in the end extremely well there by Gary Tyrer. Very well indeed, and Gary Tees puts him to ground, so it's not all Warrington at the moment by any stretch of the imagination, Steve.
No, it's not. Salford holding their own, certainly. Well, no doubt about that one, really. And got to go for touch, Mark. Ian Watson makes lots of good kick. Wind assisted. Put in Salford. Good attacking position in possession as well. What can they do with it? Well, David Young will run forward all day like that, but it won't create an opening that time. Cliff Eccles will do the same. Salford working this ball well now. Where's Ian Watson's runners? Panepa's one of them. Mark Lee's another. Gets his pass out to Randall, and Randall, brilliant try. Good Salford score that one. Chris handling, I just wondered whether there was a hint of a forward pass from Mark Lee. It doesn't matter, the referee didn't see it like that. Nobody in the crowd suggested it was. Slick handling, Ian Watson's cross-field run, the switch of direction from Panepa onto Lee, and Lee managing to force his way through a tackle and get the ball out to Randall, who himself had to force his way over just behind the sticks. And no doubt about it, 28-16. And the Salford fans have really something to shout about. Sam and Salford find some hidden reserves. So the try that I was certainly willing Salford to score, and they did do, Jim. And let's see if they can make a game of it now.
Well, they're only 12 points down, 28-16. It's only 2 scores, and with this wind at the backs, if they can use the kicking game to full advantage, it may well be that Warrington are going to have to weather a few storms in the second half. But as yet, I haven't seen Sculthorpe with the ball in his hands. I've heard so many good reports about this young man. One up in the air from Davis. Again, not easy to take. But I've seen Tyler play a couple of times now for Salford, and he looks a very good fullback indeed. Very safe pair of hands. Likes to get involved in the game. There's the ex-Warrington favourite, Mike Gregory. Just tackled on the 20. Takes advantage of no marker. Goes good 10 yards forward, so David Young again. So Salford beginning to come back into this game. And it's good to see. It's by no means certain that they will stay in the first division, but I think it's highly unlikely they'll be relegated. If they can go back to the Willows with 2 points tonight, that will help their cause. That's the last tackle. That's Sam Panepa there. Kick by Mark Lee. Goes into dead, so this may well be the pattern that we're going to see in this second half, that Salford attempting to put Warrington under pressure. It's not by possession, but by territory. And that's interesting. A fullback coming in, first man in. Surely a punch thrown there by Mark Lee. Referee Mr. Connolly has good relations with these players. In there immediately. I don't think Mark Lee can protest, although he did try to do so. He would be well advised not to say anything, but very interesting ploy from Warrington. The fullback coming in, first man in. Warrington tend to do that a lot with Mark Foster and sometimes with Jonathan Roper. And Jonathan Davis. Good kick from Davis against the wind. And there's Tukari Barlow to take the second phase. Onto Hilton. Hilton tackled immediately. Seems to be a little bit of bad blood between Hilton and David Young. Well, let's hope at the end of the game they have a pint of beer together and they settle any differences that they may well have. Warrington in possession. On a bench. Oh, nice, lovely break there. Bench in the arms of Penny, but he can't quite get the ball away. But that was a lovely break coming in from Gary Sanderson. Surely a penalty. And it may well be the referee. I don't know what's happening. The referee is giving Phil Ford a yellow card. Ford still protesting. I'm sure Jonathan Davis will tap this and go. For Warrington now with 12 players. Salford with 12 players into Gary Tees. But a really good break there from Sanderson. There was Lee Penny on his shoulder, just couldn't quite make it to the line. Yestin Harris still spinning around, still getting the ball away, making it available. And here's Gary Sanderson again. That really, I think, has been the feature of Warrington's play this afternoon. Some good backing up. Barlow, Salford screaming forward. Yestin Harris spots the gap. Still going. Back onto Shelford. And Salford defence here at 6s and 7s, but it's still good enough to keep the wide at bay. Shelford gets up quickly to play the ball. On to Sanderson. Sanderson to Davis. Eventually on to Hilton, but Salford cover comes over very quickly. Warrington right on the Salford line. Barlow attempts to get the ball away. On to Shelford. Shelford to Harris. Harris to Maguire. Ball lost. Knock on. What a chapter of accidents in the past few minutes here at Wilderspool. Phil Ford being sent off for 10 minutes in the sin bin for interference at the play of the ball. Some good attacking from Warrington, some good defence from Salford. But Salford lose possession again. And I think Lee Penny somewhat unlucky not to score his third try of the afternoon from the full-back berth. That's good going. Ball away in the arms, eventually of Yestin Harris. Harris onto Roper. The crash ball, I think they used to call that in rugby union. And again onto Sculthorpe. Is he going to score in his first game in the first team? Gets the ball away very quickly. Again onto Harris. Harris eventually to Shelford. Shelford to Bateman. Is Bateman going to score? Yes, he is. And the try's been awarded. Warrington 32 points. Salford 16. Alan Bateman's second try of the afternoon. A good passing movement all the way along the field. Bateman really had his head up in the air as he managed to put the ball down, but he certainly wasn't put over on his back. And that really looks like curtains for Salford, I think, Steve.
Yeah, probably. Just when you think that the tide is turning, things don't go Salford's way. Phil Ford holding down, Salford then under.
Beautifully taken there by Shelford. And Gary Sanderson really coming into his own. Shelford again, Warrington in the lead, 32 points to 16. Good crunching tackle from McAvoy and Panaper. Yestin Harris, knock on. Referee keeping a good control on this game. Good to see. For the most part, been a very clean game. And Watson puts the ball in. Out on the Salford side immediately. In the arms of Panaper. Panaper going forward, just almost escapes the clutches of Lee Penny, but is Salford going to score again, Steve?
Well, let's hope so. And Panaper reminiscent there of the try he scored against Warrington at the Willows, where he created space from nothing on the halfway line then. Kennedy didn't do it that time, but Salford coming back into it. And it's good to hear the Salford supporters still urging on the Red Devils, well, the Reds. The run around, forward pass. So Salford certainly willing to move the ball around, but no doubt that that was a forward pass, Jim, and takes the pressure off Warrington again.
With Warrington 16 points to the good. I'm wondering there whether we're going to have a one against the head, but we certainly saw an offside decision given. The Sculthorpe loses his skull cap, one might say, his scrum cap. Not too much ground made there, but the kick was safe. Gary Tees really comes in with a vengeance, with a purpose. With strong running, number 10 for Wire. Maguire. Good tackle. Excellent tackle there from David Young. Ball eventually onto the arms there of Penny, linking up very well indeed. Can't quite get the ball away. Tukari Barlow back in the arms. That looked to me like a forward pass. Here's Sculthorpe. What a wonderful break from Sculthorpe. Just ankle tap really, just taken down. Hint of a penalty there, I would think. And again to Gary Sanderson. Warrington moving the ball around well. Onto Penny. Penny decides to go on his own. Gets the ball away beautifully there to Shelford. Shelford to Harris. Long pass onto Roper, who will score for Warrington. Warrington 36 points, Salford 16. Some lovely handling. Some good movement forward. I almost felt at one point I was going to be able to say that Sculthorpe had scored a try on his debut in the first team for the Wire. But eventually the ball's in the arms there of Jonathan Roper. Warrington 36 points, Salford 16. Good try, Steve.
Yeah. Richard Webster on for David Young. Jim, a change on the Warrington side?
Yeah, it looks as if Mark Foster's gone off and Jason Lee's come on, so good decision by the Warrington management, really. Warrington well in the lead here. Half a break there from Harris. He really is a difficult player to stop. And he decided to take the ball on his own, still going. Oh, beautiful dummy from Harris, and eventually gets the ball away. But Warrington lose possession, but what a talented youngster this Warrington number 7 is. Richard Webster again. His tackle there just 10 yards short of the 20s. So Salford 20 points down, but they're playing for pride, or they should be. And they've shown on the few occasions this afternoon with the ball in their hands they can be a very talented outfit, but they're not really playing well together as a team. And I've been rather disappointed, Steve, in Sam Panaper.
Yeah, oh, and here's another try for Warrington. Chase down the touchline, Sam Panaper's haring back. He's catching, but he hasn't made it. He's missed it, and it's going to be a length of the field try, virtually, for Roper. Thrilling chase. McAvoy dropping the ball. And just when it looked as though Salford might have had a chance, a spilled ball, a man with pace, nobody could catch Roper.
Looks as if Panaper may well have got him at one point, but Panaper went for the ankle tap and missed, obviously. And there was Jonathan Davis coaching Roper all the way to the line, telling him to get as close to the post as he could. So Jonathan Roper scores 2 tries for Warrington in as many minutes. So with about 20 minutes gone here, we think, perhaps a little bit more than that. Warrington in the lead by now 42 points to 16 as Jonathan Davis tags on the goal points. Warrington have scored, I think it's 8 tries this afternoon already. And Salford have scored 3, so we've had 11 tries in what has been rather an entertaining game. Certainly the second half has opened very brightly indeed. As Phil Ford comes on again for Salford after his 10 minutes prison sentence, one might say, in the sin bin. Again, well taken by Shelford. And it's into Sculthorpe. Is it Sculthorpe? No, it isn't. It looks like Jason Lee. I'm getting these two players confused now. There's Mark Hilton. But the Salford forwards there finding it difficult to put Hilton to ground. And Warrington now, it appears to me, to be making ground at will. Sculthorpe again, still trying to get away. Another very talented youngster on the Warrington books. The Warrington youth policy is very good indeed. And on to Jason Lee. Lee gets the ball away to Bateman. Bateman inside, still going, looking around for support. Gets the ball on eventually to Barlow. Barlow coming inside. And Barlow really is a tormentor of this Salford side. One can remember his marvellous try in the cup game at Salford a few months ago, and he really does torment this side. He goes one way and then the other, but loses the ball in possession. A warm round of applause there for the Warrington attackers, I think. Some really good handling from Wire this afternoon, and it's not easy with this blustery wind, and it's also very cold as well. But Salford get the ball away, and you must be a little bit disappointed at the moment, Steve.
Yeah, that's right. It's always good to see great rugby league, and that's what Warrington have been playing. Great rugby league in these last 10 or 15 minutes or so, cutting Salford to shreds, and it was great credit that time to Salford that they didn't just let them go. And even now Salford trying to play the rugby, but the difference is that Salford are playing rugby going backwards, Warrington were playing rugby going forwards. And unless you go forwards, Ian Lee's doing his best too, but nobody quite in support. Ian Watson going straight, hanging onto the ball, but Warrington's strength there for all to see. Crowd not happy that Warrington penalised for pulling the ball out. Watson gets on with it quickly. And really, where are Salford going to go? Are we going to have summer rugby, I wonder? If we do, then the teams that have got the pace men are obviously going to be the stars. And Salford perhaps just lacking for pace in key positions and lacking for, well, unforced error. And nothing's going right for him, Jim.
No, it's sad to see, and having seen them 10 days ago, Salford got very close to Warrington. Certainly with about 10 minutes to go, they weren't far away. But it looks like a different side this afternoon. It may well be they're missing the promptings of Gregory. I think Panaper's had a very quiet game. Started off quite well, but he's not been too much in evidence since, and Salford really do need a playmaker. I think the nearest they have to at the moment, when it may well be Mark Lee, it could be Ian Watson, but there's really nobody taking hold of this game. I thought Mike Gregory may well have come on and motivated them. Perhaps he has, but Salford really needs somebody in the centre of the field, I think, to handle the ball, to try and change the line of attack, to keep the players going. And Warrington have got a number of players like that, Kelly Shelford being one of them, and the way Yestin Harris is leading as well from the stand-off position, only a young player at 18, 19 years of age. That ball goes loose, but eventually onto Sculthorpe. Sculthorpe still going, and he certainly has Foster on his shoulder, and it's not Foster at all, I'm sorry, it is in fact Jason Lee. That of course is Foster's position, and he's gone off. What a lovely break from Sculthorpe. He nearly made it to the line, but very unselfishly gave it on to his colleague who's been sitting on the bench for most of this game with him. That takes a score to Warrington 46 points, Salford 16. It looks to me now that every time Warrington get the ball, they're ripping huge holes in this Salford defence. And I don't say that as a Warrington supporter, I think that's an objective view. So it's 46-16, Warrington very much in the driving seat here at Wilderspool now. And I'd be very surprised if we don't see any more points. Having said that, a mistake there from Warrington. That ball goes dead, they're going to have to kick out from between the posts. 46 points to Warrington, 16 points to Salford. We've still got about, I would think, how long to go, Steve? 14. About 14 minutes to go. Be very surprised if Warrington didn't reach the 50, but let's hope Salford can keep them out. That is, if you're a Salford supporter. Marvellous kick against the wind there from Jonathan Davis, taken well in the end by Phil Ford. Phil Ford eventually put down just on the centre spot, Steve. Are we going to see an end-to-end try for Salford?
Well, we haven't seen any of those, think, this season from Salford. And I would imagine if Andy Gregory has his way, as reported in the paper. Yeah, and we do need all these refereeing decisions to go Salford's way. Mike Gregory looking to get on with it. And bringing Salford forward, and the Salford fans still cheering them on. But Ian Watson being overtaken for speed again by Yestin Harris. Panaper taking it forward a bit more. Salford fans still trying to raise the team, and that's great when that happens. Inside to Cliff Eccles. Oh, what nice play. And in the end, you forget that very often the game can be as straightforward as that. Warrington the teams with the players with pace. Two more good kick from Watson. The teams with the players with the pace are the ones that are going to come up trumps time and time again. 46-22. What's the record score here, Jim? Do you know? I should have looked before it came out. Is it 70 odd? Is it? No. I'm in for against Salford, Warrington Salford. No. Yeah. I started doing that, looking at the record scores, but I forgot to do it today. Right, 11 minutes to go. And Ian Watson just too, in the end, careless. And from a kick-off against the wind, you really shouldn't finish up in that position, just virtually on your own try line. And for all the good points in Ian Watson's play, there's still a lot of improvement if he's going to be a successful first division player, and Salford just can't get ground forward. 3 plays, no better off than they were. Big pass to Richard Webster had to be taken over his own line. Warrington defence attacking so well, and Mark Lee doing the right thing, and all of a sudden there's a chase on, but it's going to be taken well in time by Penny.
Penny comes away, but he's still going across the field. Having said that, good little break there from Penny. 46 points to Warrington, 22 points to Salford. Still, Warrington moving forward. They'd like some more points. They know what goal difference can do to you, as Wigan proved 2 seasons ago when Wigan drew 8 points here. No, sorry, in fact, I think won 8 points to 6 here. One of the last games of the season, won the league on goal difference, or should I say points difference. So Warrington won a few more points here. Warrington really looking for a top 4 spot, but it's not going to be easy for them. With St Helens obviously in Leeds, I think Wigan, if they haven't won the championship, are very close to doing so, I think. And it's Leeds and St Helens who I'm surely will be in second and third position, I would imagine. Sculthorpe again going forward. He wants to try. He wants to say to his grandchildren, I scored on my first game for the Wire. Warrington spinning it along. The arms eventually of Penny. Penny onto Roper, but no real ground made forward there, but there is now, as Roper goes forward on his own. As they get a frog in my throat. Shelford again, onto Maguire. Maguire going towards the posts. Warrington are looking for 50. For the third time, I think, this season they will have scored. Harris goes on his own, shows the dummy. A try for Warrington. Warrington 50 points. Salford 22. No more, I think, than Yestin Harris deserved. He's had a marvellous game this afternoon.
But do know how to score tries.
Warrington reached the half-century mark, which
and there's one in off the post. Jonathan Davies will say they all count, and they do. So that's 52, is it? 52-22. Oh, Salford. Who can believe it? Whatever the problems might have been off the field, if there have been any with Gary Jack's departure, then it really would be good to see somebody, just these players, getting themselves together and sorting out what needs to be done for the remainder of this season to restore some pride for the Salford supporters, because one of the worrying things, Jim, is the attendance is down at the Willows. There's only 2.5 for Warrington's visit down there. There's only 2.5 for Castleford's visit. Very, very worrying that they might not be rugby league.
That's sad to see, really. On to Davis. Davis going on his own. Has Davis got the legs? I think he probably has. And I think he's going to score under the post as he puts the ball down now. Another wonderful handling movement from Warrington. The ball eventually in the arms of Jonathan Roper, who looked inside. There was Davis, his centre partner on his right shoulder. Unloaded the ball, released Jonathan Davis, who made it to the line. Warrington 56 points, Salford 22, and one would think a fairly easy proposition now for Jonathan Davis to put the ball between the posts. So really the second half has seen Warrington now, as Davis adds on the goal points, seen Warrington score 30 points. And Warrington now really scoring at will, 58 points to 22. Warrington have had 2 scores, I think, of 50 this season, certainly against, I don't know whether it was Workington Town, it was 64 or 68 or something like that. Yestin Harris, man of the match, no surprise at all, I think, to the commentators here. Had a marvellous game, a marvellous probing game. What a class player Yestin Harris is. One hopes that Warrington can keep him here, because I'm sure he's the kind of player that Wigan would love to have on their books. And the amount of money that Wigan appear to have, and good luck to them, he's the kind of player I think they'd love to sign. There's the match winner, the man of the match, Yestin Harris. Warrington spinning the ball around inside their own 22. It's on to Sculthorpe. As he goes down. Sam Panaper and Mike Gregory there with him. Scrum cap coming off again. Bruce Maguire. So Warrington now looking for 60. Mark Hilton. Good tackle on Mark Hilton by Mark Lee. Maguire. Gregory comes in quickly. Maguire spins round. Maguire not happy with that. I don't know exactly what happened, but there was a bit of an altercation. But fortunately both players think better of any further action. Discretion is the better part of valour. Last tackle. Yestin Harris. Kick ahead by Harris, still playing football. Ball taken well, in fact beautifully there by Tyra, and I think Harris fell over. But Tyra did very well indeed there, Steve.
Yeah, he's had a good afternoon, as you say. Perhaps a couple of errors, but that is not surprising in the conditions. But Warrington having all the ideas, having the men with the speed. Phil Cousins, for example, not being able to get clear. And even when there's a chance, the ball's dropped first by Critchley and McAvoy can't pick it up when he had the chance. So it's great when you're a Warrington fan seeing a game like this, but the truth is that rugby league isn't a particularly good game when one side is so much better than the other, because there's no, whilst it's great to watch, there's not the deep satisfaction as if it was Warrington scoring 58 against Wigan, because they never would in the present term. And that's one of the big things that nobody ever says publicly, is that rugby league only works when two teams are of even standards. And regrettably, Salford haven't matched Warrington this afternoon.
Totally agree with those comments there from Steve. Yes, a lot of Warrington supporters would have enjoyed today's game, as I have up to a point, but having said that, it really has been men against boys. Maguire onto Bateman. Bateman gets the ball away eventually, but that's going to be a knock-on. A good decision there by the referee. You can see Phil Ford and Alan Bateman exchanging a glance there. A bit of a laugh between them, two Welsh compatriots. Good to see in rugby league. It is that kind of game. There's more bodily contact in rugby league probably than any other sport, I think, certainly in Great Britain. And yet, generally speaking, the players get on well with each other. They celebrate each other's successes most of the time, I'm sure they do. And when the game's over, the game is over. But Salford's still in possession. Still inside, or just coming outside the 20. And it's not been an easy afternoon for them, really. And as Steve said at half-time, it's very sad to see everything's gone wrong for Salford, with some backroom troubles, the departure of a coach in Gary Jack, and we all wish very well, of course. Let's give Andy Gregory all our best wishes. I'm sure Mike Gregory will help him to try and get Salford back on course, because a first division of the Stones Bitter Championship without Salford is not a first division at all. Salford, one of the all-time greats. Lovely break here from McAvoy, but he loses the ball. He loses the ball. And I'm interested to see what the he's given a scrum down.
Yeah, it had to be put there again. McAvoy, one of Salford's youngsters, showing that perhaps he has got pace. He gave great sidestep, elusive running, looking for the many support, and he had a choice of two and dropping it. And we didn't see your guys drop it.
No, we didn't. Warrington have held it quite well. That's happened to Salford a few times this afternoon, where the last pass has gone forward or gone to ground, or not even been affected, you know, but Warrington's still moving the ball around. Yestin Harris again. What a marvellous game this man's had. And let's give some credit to the wide fullback Lee Penny, who really does give 100% commitment to our club. There's Alan Bateman trying to get the ball away again. Does it well onto Jason Lee. Jason Lee still going forward, centre field, jinking around. Eventually taken out by Cliff Eccles. Well, this man is a real speed merchant. Shelford, eventually in the arms of Penny. Penny unloads to Tukari Barlow. Tukari Barlow still going forward. And a great fan of Lee Penny. He seems to have lost a bit of the glue from his hands, as we might say, because he really is a top-class fullback in the making. Ball eventually onto Davis. A pass from Sculthorpe, and Davis couldn't quite hold it. Ball probably taken away from him by the wind, I'm not certain really, but here's Phil Ford. Really going nowhere, running across the field, and Phil Ford was a great favourite here at Wilderspool, of course, but Salford now bunching, not an attacking formation at all. Sad to see, really. Let's hope they can score a try for a bit of pride before the end of this game, but still moving forward, trying to get the ball away. And it's Phil Ford again. No, it's not, it's Mike Gregory. He's got the very same kind of haircut. That means they don't have any hair, Steve.
Yeah, perhaps that's a bit of a worry, all these bald heads then on the Salford team. Is an indication perhaps of the passing years. Experience is one thing, but if ever there was a young man's game, then rugby league is a young man's game, because whilst it obviously needs skill and ability, if you're young and have got pace and commitment, and if you've got the appetite, if you've got the hunger, then you're more likely to have that when you're young, because perhaps it's gone a little bit from some of the older players. And understandably, nobody really wants to go through the last few seconds of this game. 40 minutes on my second half clock. And can Salford prevent Warrington from scoring 60?
No, they can't. Or should I say, yes, they can, Steve. Because the final score here, Warrington 58 points, Salford 22. As you see, both sets of players going to congratulate each other and thanking each other for the entertainment they provided for themselves and for a fairly meagre crowd here at Wilderspool Stadium. Really a game in which both halves, Warrington were very much on top. Salford had their moments. Salford may well have scored more tries than they did. They scored 4, but I think they could have scored 1 or 2 more. But the last pass tended to go astray. You can see there Mike Gregory having a chat there with Gary Sanderson. There's Alan Bateman going towards Mike Gregory as well. Lovely to see. It's nice to see both sets of players coming off together, shaking each other's hands. It's lovely to see Mike Gregory back on the field, albeit in a Red Devils jersey, as Jonathan Davis leads the players over to congratulate the Warrington supporters, or should I say to thank them. Can I thank Steve for another excellent commentary from a very objective rugby league supporter. The final score from Wilderspool Stadium: Warrington 58 points, Salford 22.